So a young Black Widow, would you say is like a Black Widow baby? Okay, cause she's Black Widow, but she's small, like a baby, like a baby with a gun. Anyway, Black Widow, not bad, not a bad movie at all. I think it's alright. Definitely not Marvel's best, but yeah, it's pretty decent. I really loved pretty much the whole family. Like all four of them, I thought were all interesting or funny or pretty great in general. I especially loved Florence Pugh, I think it's how you pronounce it, and David Harbour. I thought they were both absolutely hilarious. They had some great chemistry together, and they were definitely a highlight of this movie. I really loved that opening as well. Like, that just casual American family, something suspicious is going on, and slowly putting together that they're Russian agents and escaping from S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff, I thought was absolutely brilliant. And then straight from that to this heart-wrenching montage of just like the cruelty of the Red Room and all these horrible things that happened to Natasha and Yelena, I thought was just perfect. The problem was, I don't think it ever lived up to that opening though. It was good. I really enjoyed it. There's some great action, but the opening just set up these heart-wrenching images with the Red Room, and after that, it just never quite lived up to the tone that it had set, which is fine because the rest of the movie is good. It's the classic Marvel tone of things, fairly lighthearted, some good jokes here and there, and some pretty decent action, but the intro just set up something else. Something much darker and, I think, more interesting. Also, a big problem with the movie was I thought the villains were very forgettable. Like, Taskmaster, I don't know much about him in the comics, but he seems like a big bad guy. Seems kind of interesting. And in this, he's not quite that. He's not really that interesting. He never says anything. He just seems very generic. And then the main villain, I don't even remember his name. I just know him as the big fat guy in charge of the Red Room, which I can see what they were trying to do. It seems like he's supposed to be like a Harvey Weinstein kind of guy. This perverted movie executive that these women have to listen to if they want their careers to be good and everything. And so I see where they were trying to go with it, and I think when you look at it that way, it does work. But as an actual threatening, scary villain, he's pretty forgettable, and it's not that great. And the Red Room itself, I mean, it's just Hydra. It's literally just Hydra. They have a bunch of operatives around the world controlling things from the shadows. They're just an evil organization. That's it. They are the Russian version of Hydra, which would be fine in most things, but because this is the MCU and we already have Hydra, yeah, it just doesn't quite work for me, that is. But the movie as a whole does still work, and it has some great moments that I absolutely loved, and I think it's worth a watch, at least a watch. It's a bit of fun. It's not going to change your world, but no Marvel movie really will anyway, so I'd say it's worth a watch. The biggest problem with this movie, though, is that it's only coming out now. Like, for some reason, it didn't already exist. Really, we should have gotten a Black Widow movie in Phase 2, and we should have gotten this exact movie in Phase 3. This is set between Civil War and Infinity War, and sort of fills in that gap of time. So why didn't it come out in between Civil War and Infinity War. So that would have made sense to me. It also would have meant that Marvel's first female-led movie would be with a character that people know and like, and it would be this movie, which is quite enjoyable and, pretty fun, as opposed to the absolute train wreck that is Captain Marvel, which this movie is just leagues above. You can't even compare the two, because one is just absolute crap, and the other is quite enjoyable. So if you're missing Marvel's cinematic outings, Black Widow's not a bad one to go with. It's funny with some good action, everything you pretty much need in a Marvel movie. Or you can just stick to watching Loki, which is, oh my god, so good.